Hi, and welcome to Third Eye Thinkers. I'm your host, Megan Benanti.
And I'm Michelle Welch.
Thanks for joining us today. So today we're going to talk about the big topic that has been on everybody's mind, if you're at all into the metaphysical world, which is Mercury Retrograde. And also a little bit about the Lunar Eclipse coming up this week. So,
right, yeah.
And our Mercury Retrograde, officially that starts the 26th and lasts until August 18th.
I put the 19th, so...
Oh, did you?
Stuff, so maybe it's
okay.
It may be at night or something. Yeah. So, and I think tomorrow it starts at 1:36 a.m. So it'll really feel like tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I believe.
I always think too that we have kind of like a couple weeks rolling into that. So it sort of gets bigger as we go in, and then there's a denouement coming out, so that it has kind of a slower decline.
Right.
And so in my calendar, I block off a couple weeks before and a couple weeks after. So I blocked July 10th all the way to September 1st. And then I know I'm totally in the clear for that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, because it's when it's direct and when it's in the red, you know, all those things that they get real fancy about. I just go, block off an amount
Chunk
of
of
time.
time.
Chunk of time. I don't need to get all fancy with my words on it because I already got enough to keep straight. Right.
Yeah. So, we got to keep it easy.
Keep it easy. Keep it simple for me, for sure. Yeah. So let's explain for people. You know, it's even hit now like Cosmopolitan and
all
it's
fashionable.
It's fashionable now to talk about Mercury retrograde, but it's not so fun. And I think that a lot of fear gets put out there, and so we want to dispel a little fear, but we want of the fear, but we also want to tell you some ways you maybe can be just a little more prudent and cautious during the time of Mercury retrograde. Right.
Right. It's all about energy and using the time and using that energy wisely. And so when Mercury's retrograde, we want to take advantage of the benefits that are happening during that time, and just avoid the things that are going to be affected in a negative way. So like when we're looking at this, it's basically like Mercury's kind of taking a nap, and so all the things that it rules are going to be taking a nap with it.
I like that.
Yeah. I saw that. I was actually one of my favorite astrologers that I follow online is Susan Miller, and so from astrologyzone.com, and so she had described it as a nap, and I was like, oh, brilliant. So
yeah, that's a good way. I always say pause, but I like that because I like naps better than pauses.
Yeah.
Naps are really good things for me.
Yeah. Well,
so I love that. I'm going to use that. That's
it
great.
is a good time to take a nap.
It
literally.
Is, literally.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you know, Mercury is over communication. It also is over things like travel because of Hermes or Hermes. Hermes, however you want to say that, and it's also Hermes with the winged feet was our first the symbol for our U.S. postal system. So you think about travel, you think about communication, anything having to do with those sorts of things during Mercury retrograde. Those things they can go a little wonky. So can technology, actually. So, any other categories you want to add to that?
Well, can I break down the categories a little bit?
Sure, that'd be great.
So, I was kind of reviewing that. And so, when we think about communication, this includes listening, learning, reading, writing, also going to be buying, selling, editing, researching, and negotiating things. And then we're also looking at coding. So that can be computer coding or any kind of coding that's happening, transportation in general, shipping, and traveling. And so you think about it, that's any form of communication or kind of expression of movement there. And it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It encompasses a lot. So, it's kind of a time to avoid signing contracts, committing yourself to long-term things. Even starting a new job, it might turn out like a little different than you expected it to. That's part of what Mercury does, is it sort of, the mind gets a little bit tricked, or we're following our intuition and we want to believe it's going to work out really well, and we maybe weren't quite as practical, or the description wasn't clearly written about what the job is. That kind of thing can come forward.
So did you break down all the categories?
No, that's kind of,
the communication. Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't want to jump in if you were still
No, go girl.
But what I was going to say on that is I always jump in on the contract things, and on if you've started something, if you've been working on something for some time And let's say during this period, you're like, okay, I have to sign this contract. What am I going to do? And it comes up that that's what I'm supposed to I want your opinion on this. But you've been working on it for some time. Or say you have to go to court. I mean, the judge is going to laugh at you if you say, I can't come to court that day. You know, Mercury is in retrograde. I mean, seriously, and they're going to kind of laugh you right out. Now, I'm not sure every judge might, and there might be a judge who might be into that, but still, that she would be way back on their docket if they just put everything off for that whole period of time. Right? It goes into retrograde 3, sometimes 4 times a year, I believe. Plus, we have right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in retrograde. Okay, so this is known as the summer of retrograde, and then we've got one going into retrograde on August 7th. So you think about it. I mean, it's a summer of, are you just going to do nothing? Are the courts going to shut down? So you have to kind of think of it as, have I started something before this time? Do I have to? Then at that point, you just have to really move more carefully.
Yep.
You said it on another show, you know, to dot your I's and cross your T's very carefully, really be prudent and I always use the word, I actually use this in a lot of we have a full moon ceremony Friday night.
Oh, at Soltopia?
At Soltopia. And we will probably do this exercise where you think of the word like restart, rethink, recalibrate. You can make up a word, anything that's going on in your life, like re-envision, reopen. I mean, it's just any word, and we'll go around the circle, and we'll just say whatever comes to your mind. Just say that word. But it's a time to take a nap and to pause. But what do you think about somebody who has started something, and they really are up against it and need to finish it during that time?
That's okay. My understanding with Mercury retrograde is that if you've already got something in the works, that's generally going to be all right. It might be that things are delayed as far as getting that signing done and that kind of thing. It's going to be generally drawn out this month. And, I have found a lot of people are really feeling like they're waiting. They're like, I've got this change coming, but it's just not happening yet. And it's like, well, it's going to get there. But this is the time to process internally. And, just because external factors are going a little awry, it doesn't mean you can't do internal. But back to the question, I'm sorry. You can definitely continue to work on things that are existing, and that's part of the strength of this time. You just don't want to necessarily make massive changes. If you're finishing up, that's good. But I do see that a lot of people are they're preparing for this big push of change, and I think that's probably going to come in the fall. Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. You've even said to me, hold off on that till September. Hold off on that. Last week you were saying that to me. And I thought about it later, and I was like, okay, that has to do. I think you intuitively said it.
Right.
And what it had to do with was this. Yeah. I'm sure. I feel certain as we were walking out, because I knew it just came out of you intuitively. But I believe that at least it felt like it did. And I believe it totally had to do with this time period. Now, the thing with really what happens with the planets, and I was telling Megan, the actual planets and how they operate and where they're positioned, I'm not great at that, but it's actually an illusion of it moving backwards. And so I always try to tell people it's an illusion, but yet it's real. Okay, so it's real. These things really do affect things. There's some proof of things being kind of going wonky during Mercury retrograde, especially communication.
Oh, absolutely.
So think about it. So think about texting and emails. I used to say, emails, I've been around long enough to where emails they came out and we didn't have emails, in the business place, in the workplace. And you would just hit send on an email if you were upset about something. Before, they would teach you to sit on it for 24, 48, or 72 hours, and man, you could lose a job. And people did, because they didn't really teach people what to do.
Oh, the manners.
Think about the manners and the etiquette of texting. I've even noticed that on Facebook, and this is going somewhere with Mercury retrograde, and how they say to be careful with that. We're hiring somebody right now, trying to hire some people at Soltopia, and you look, at what's on their Facebook. And I'm
Certainly.
thinking during Mercury retrograde, you really want to be careful what you're texting, what you're saying on email. Before you hit send on anything, you want to be careful, because it's not just what you say, it's how it's going to be perceived and how it's going to be read by the person who's receiving it.
Absolutely.
Because there's just miscommunication.
Yeah.
And it's not because, even with us scheduling these shows, we wanted the same thing.
Right.
Our shows the next couple weeks, we wanted the same things, but our communication was that we weren't exactly getting our
Yeah.
words, and it's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
It is a real thing, but it's not something to just make you be paralyzed.
Right.
Did you agree?
And, and that true, like scheduling is going to come up as an issue, and traffic on getting to places, and delays in your flights. And if you are going to travel for leisure, for relaxation, because that's going to be a key thing too with that, is that it's a great time to take a break. Not a great time if you're in a rush to get a product out and you've got to fly somewhere to do it. That's where you're going to have delays. So
during one of the Mercury retrogrades, it was during the Golden Globes. And do you remember, guys, if you're Golden Globe watchers, I believe it was maybe 2016, I'm not sure. But that was during a Mercury retrograde, when all the actresses and actors couldn't get to the red carpet in time because they were all stuck in traffic. And it was a Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because, and another interesting thing, and this is kind of a positive, and I had to kind of think of how it worked, but when they found the assassination tape of JFK, remember, it had been lost for a while, they found it during Mercury retrograde.
Oh,
It'd
fascinating.
be interesting to kind of do a study on that and to find out how Mercury retrograde played into that.
Yeah, because it would have been a search that was going on for a long time. Like I notice a lot of times Apple will launch the next phone or whatever during a Mercury retrograde. And I think, why do they do that? But part of it is something they've been working on, and that's the right time for them.
Another interesting thing is to look up when you were born and see, and you can do this on the computer. You can Google it and look up when you were born and look up Farmer's Almanac or anything like that, and see if that was a Mercury retrograde period. Because if it was, then there's a theory that things may work in reverse for you.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that part I didn't know about.
It's interesting. So look it up, and if you were born during that Mercury retrograde period, everything we're saying, potentially, this is a theory, may work directly opposite.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about with it too is this is not a great time to do elective surgery or cosmetic surgery. So because mistakes can happen, scheduling issues can come up, that would be very Mercury retrograde. You also don't want to do that during a Venus retrograde, because Venus rules beauty. And if you're doing a cosmetic surgery, you want it to be beautiful.
We're not in Venus right now, so
no,
cosmetic surgeons, you can be happy with us again.
A Venus retrograde is going to be coming up this fall, though.
Yeah.
The other one is Mars retrograde, and because that does actually rule surgery. Now, sometimes
we're in Mars right now.
Right. And if you need surgery, you get it done. There's no reason to hold back on that just because there's a planetary alignment. One of the things, though, it might be a really difficult surgery. The healing might be really difficult, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't turn out really successful. So you just, if you can make it work with your planetary alignments, great. But if you can't, that's okay.
You said you prefaced it with elective when you said it. So elective surgeries, especially.
Right. Yeah.
So we've got Pluto in retrograde, Saturn, Neptune, Mars, and Mercury just starts on 7/26.
Okay.
All in retrograde, and then Uranus starts on August the 7th.
Okay.
So
it's coming right up.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So quite interesting. I had I don't know if you showed it, Matt, yet. I had a little graphic of some of the little things. Mercury retrograde release, and are you okay with me just jumping into
Oh
these?
yeah, go for it.
There's smoky quartz is very good for releasing things that don't serve you, and blue lace agate, which is one of my favorite crystals, is good for relaxing, and renewal is aquamarine, which is actually also a great stone for travel. It's a stone of travel. And then reconnect, Amazonite. And did you say the 19th or did you say the 18th? I may have that wrong. I put through the 19th, so 7/26 through the 19th. But it's around there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I had that. And then what's the next graphic that I had? I put this on Facebook today for people to get little readings on. They could pick a stone and they could pick whichever stone they wanted. We've got chrysocolla at the top. We've got sodalite. I think a lot of people thought that was lapis. That's actually sodalite up there. Blue lace agate, smoky quartz over at the top. If you're just listening, you can just write these down. Black tourmaline, that's aquamarine, and then a raw emerald.
Nice, it's
And
beautiful.
I love raw emerald, and then amazonite. And I wrote, get stoned for Mercury RX for Mercury Retrograde.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the RX is a symbol or an abbreviation for retrograde.
Yeah. So, and then I just brought, we sell bracelets at Soultopia, and they're very popular. They go really fast. It has some of those stones. It has the amazonite, the hematite. Hematite is very grounding for you during this time. And then I won't go into all the properties due to time, but amazonite, as I said, is for reconnecting. This graphic is really old, but it's on selenite. I took the picture on selenite. It's obviously, I took this picture. It's not super professional, but Michelle's photography skills, not so great. And there's fluorite. So there's a bunch of different colors of fluorite. Fluorite is great for bringing order out of chaos. It's known as the genius stone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so also those of you who are in school or studying anything, it's great for that, or for any type of work. And I said amazonite, hematite. I think I've covered everything on here. Oh, aquamarine is great for travel. So we're covering all the things that are associated. Oh, and the fluorite and the amazonite both are great for the communication also.
Right. Yeah, and I think of fluorite as being the stone of concentration.
It's perfect,
yeah,
yes.
It's great for students and going back to school, too.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Were you ready to go into that? Did you have something else to say?
No,
I didn't want to
it's
hop
good.
into that
No.
if you weren't ready.
We're perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so I brought in chamomile today, and that's a really sweet little plant. Looks kind of like a daisy there.
I love it.
Yeah, it's very sweet. And most people know of chamomile from like chamomile tea. And it's a super positive plant. It's got like 20 different phytochemicals in it, but it's also, the nutrients are choline, vitamins B1, B3, and vitamin C. And I picked it because to me, it's kind of a stress reducer. And this is all about stress reduction in this Mercury retrograde. So you're going to reduce inflammation. It's going to stimulate your appetite, but it also aids in digestion and sleep. And one of the things about it is it's a diuretic. And I always thought diuretic had something to do with diet. No, it means it makes you pee a lot. So if you're going to go drink it before bed, make sure that you can get to the restroom in time. It's also helpful for colitis, headaches, fever, pain, and menstrual cramps. And it can be used as a mouthwash if you've got any kind of gum issues in there that need healing. And traditionally people have used it for like insomnia, stress reduction, that kind of thing. You just want to make sure that you don't drink chamomile tea and alcohol at the same time, or you're really going to go out for the night. And
is it dangerous? Is that like a dangerous thing?
Well, it's just said to be cautious about it. I mean, you're probably not going to mix vodka in your tea, but some people might.
Yeah.
And just the other thing is it's in the ragweed family, so you don't necessarily, if you have an allergy to ragweed, you don't want to drink it or use it consistently because you can develop that allergy.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I do have a.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allergic to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but generally, yeah, it's a happy plant and good for
It looks
for
happy.
chilling out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks happy.
So, well, let's get into our readings.
Let me say one quick thing. There is a
yeah.
book I'd like to tell our listeners about. It's called A New Look at Mercury Retrograde. It's by Robert Wilkinson. And it's so interesting. It tells you people who were born during Mercury retrograde and certain things that happened to them. It tells you all kinds of interesting historical events that happened and things that went just terribly wrong, during Mercury retrograde. And it's just really, really interesting. But he does give you the positive spin on it too, and how to deal with it.
Well, didn't you say that women's suffrage
Yes.
came out of, was like, I mean, we got the right to vote during our retrograde.
Yes. So
yes,
yes.
good things happen there.
Good
That's
things.
proof.
Yes, there you go.
So I'm totally going to check into that book. That sounded pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's interesting.
Okay, so
Ready?
we thought we'd try to do the charm readings again. And Michelle, so you want to pick like 3 out of here?
I do. And while I'm picking, I was going to tell you that, am I looking or am I picking randomly?
I would pick randomly, just
Okay.
intuitively go with
That's
it.
what I thought. So Carrie Paris, these are charms of Carrie Paris.
Yes.
And Carrie Paris she calls this casting charms, and she's doing an event at Soultopia on August 11th and August 12th. The event on August 11th is Friday night at 7 o'clock, and that's a free event, you guys. And she's going to talk about charm casting and how to read with them. And then she's doing a class on Saturday, the 12th, and then she's doing private readings.
Oh, awesome.
So you can call the store and schedule private readings with her.
Good
So the class
deal.
actually will include the charms, the Magpie Oracle, and the class. And I'm going to tell you that, guys, all for only $78, which is amazing because the whole thing itself is, like you're getting quite a lot of material and product alone just without the class itself. So that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
So y'all sign up for that.
And we met Carrie at the Reader Studio in New York this past year, this spring, and it was pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
she's great.
She's a lovely lady. Yeah. She's class act.
Okay, so let's see what we've got. We have a hanger, a clothes hanger. We have a monkey, and we have a marijuana leaf. So you will pick either the clothes hanger, the monkey, or the marijuana leaf, and then we're going to give you a reading that is lines up with that. And this is going to be to kind of help you get through Mercury retrograde. So the focus will tie into that.
So Matt, have you picked one?
Let me think
You don't
about
have to
this.
tell us. You don't have to tell us.
I don't have to say. Do
No,
I just
If
do I
you
just
wanna
keep that
say,
to myself?
But you can, if you want to say, you can, but you can keep it to yourself.
You know what? I'll go ahead and tell you. I was putting away a lot of laundry, so the clothes hanger speaks to me.
Okay.
Putting away a lot of
let's
laundry
go
last
with
night.
it.
All right.
Okay, so for the clothes hanger, we have Princess of Cups and 7 of Pentacles.
Are we going to do one
Should
at a
I
time?
lay? I think I'll lay them all out. What do you
That's what I
think?
was feeling.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I was feeling the same way. So then for monkey, we have 2 of Swords and we have the Hermit in reverse. And then the cannabis leaf is 5 of Wands and the Tower in reverse. So a lot about kind of slowing down too.
Mm-hmm.
And this deck is the Star Tarot by Kathy McClelland, if you're watching.
Love this deck.
Just love
Megan
it.
read with this deck a lot when we were at the Reader Studio in New York City, and it quickly became one of my favorites when I got back because she kept reading with it, and I kept going, what is that? What is that? And it's
Yeah.
so beautiful. So let's start with the hanger, the clothes hanger. And it's basically how we're going to handle Mercury retrograde. Are we going with that? Okay.
Yeah, how we're handling Mercury retrograde. So clothes hanger people.
So if you pick this one, this is your reading. And,
I would say emotionally open and also in like kind of being vulnerable in ways that you might have not been in the past. Like this is your time. So if you want to do writing or you want to start dating, it's not that the dating app's probably not going to work great, but it's that sense of like really being open to it and available to it in a way that maybe you haven't been in a while. And tying in those pentacles too, it's just being consistent with work. Not going to be a lot of changes, but doing the job and getting it done right now. There's also a lot of focus in this particular image to me on kind of daydreaming and letting your creativity kind of run wild, and that could be really great for you.
it feels like that there are some things that maybe those of you who chose this charm feel like some things have been put up on a hanger and they've been forgotten about. Some projects, and maybe you forgot about them, or maybe you feel someone at work has forgotten about them. You know, someone you work for or with, but it's okay. It kind of ties into this Mercury retrograde on a bigger scale. That is going to come to fruition. It's just not the time for it right now. So that idea is a good idea. It's just been put kind of back in the back of the closet for a little while. It's going to be brought out later. So it's not like it needs to be thrown away and given away, but it's going to be brought out later. And it's actually something that is, I think, a lot of you feel very not emotional about, but kind of passionate about, and it is going to bring a lot of fruitfulness, I believe.
Yeah.
When that is so, what if you can't think of what it is right now? I'm telling you, there's something that's going to come to mind that was put back, kind of either put on the shelf, and you think it's been forgotten about, or put back in the closet, so to speak, like almost like, oh man, they've just kind of shelved that and forgotten about it, but they haven't, and it's going to come back out.
The other thing I want to say that is literally, if you pick the hanger, it is time to clean out your closet. And that's great Mercury retrograde energy.
That is, yeah.
So, okay, let's move on to the next one. We've only got about 5 minutes here. So, our monkey.
It's a cute monkey.
Go ahead please jump in if you're ready.
So, I want to hold him. I want to hold this little guy.
He's cute.
He's just kind of hanging out too. It's like he's hanging out too, like that hanger. But he's more playful. He looks like he's looking like, okay, I kind of dare you. So whoever drew the monkey, you're ready to do something playful, and you're not wanting to take a pause. You're ready to just go, but you really don't have all the facts that you need. So I'm going to encourage those of you who chose the monkey to really restrain yourself. That's a R-E word. Restrain yourself.
Right.
Go inward even more than you want to. You're going to want to it's almost like that little monkey's on your shoulder going, you can do it. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead. But no.
Right.
I'm going to invite you to really restrain yourself.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing with it too, with this Two of Swords, it's very much about reflective nature. And so this is your time to go inward. And there are going to be conflicts. There's no right or wrong answers with decisions right now for you. So just kind of sit on it and wait. Your Hermit in reverse is telling you can't move forward yet. You know, you're not sure of the direction. It's not clear or available to you. And that monkey side, that's your antsiness. It's driving you nuts. So kind of chill out. You need to sit with this. There's a lot of good pondering that can happen. And the other emphasis, you mentioned fun. Do focus on just having some fun instead of being so caught up and irritated, because I feel like that antsiness is a little uncomfortable and grouchy. And so, go out and have a good time instead.
Yeah,
enjoy
there's a
yourself.
little angst associated with
Yes.
it. Yes.
Okay, and then our cannabis leaf. So we've got Five of Wands and the Tower in reverse. It's funny. It's like there's a lot coming at you and nothing's getting done. And interesting, the cannabis leaf. So that also has five.
I was noticing the
Yeah.
5.
5 leaves or
5 whatever.
it's
those.
part of the leaf. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all a leaf, but 5 fingers on it. And I know I should know that. Sorry, guys.
You knew it. The herb person.
I know. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was drawn to that 5 also. So here's what I'm getting. That song, I'm not going to sing it. Don't worry. Come Together Over Me Right Now. What's that song, you guys?
Together.
Yeah, I was singing. But it's not coming together. It's not coming together right now. It's that this is a progression of Mercury retrograde, you guys. The hangers, it's like it's kind of, you're going to be okay, kind of chill. Number 2, it's a little worse for you guys. And number 3, I'm not trying to be negative, but it just doesn't feel, it's going to be a little harder for you guys.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel the progression. 1, 2, 3. And on number 3, you can sing it again.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Come
Thank
together.
you.
It's not, it just doesn't feel like it's coming together at all for you. I would take Megan's advice and block off through September and make sure that you're careful and mindful of everything you do. I really don't like to put fear in people, but I'm just saying be careful and mindful.
Yeah, it's an interesting Five of Wands because I generally think of this as just an exercise type of card, good for creativity and that kind of energy. But we actually got a kind of an erupting volcano in the background, and then our tower is the inside of that erupting volcano, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So, you know, I would say focus on your exercise because you do seem to have a lot of energy you have to burn. You know, and then and try not to feel so stuck. You know, make for change in other areas of your life where you can make changes. Again, cleaning out drawers, closets, cupboards, that kind of thing, and keep that energy flowing. All right, so we are at a wrap for today. Please look us up on YouTube, also on Soultopia on Facebook or Megan Benanti on Facebook, and keep third eye thinking.